Hello and welcome back to Harry Shoots People. One of the more underrated areas of photography, in my opinion, and one that kind of goes under the radar, is that of sort of like promotional pictures for bands or artists, pictures used for album covers or just to advertise any upcoming event. Recently I've been really inspired by CJ Harvey and her shot of Clairo on the Charm album cover, and looking into it is something that I'd really like to do. I'd love for a photo that I took to be used as the promotion for something, be it just a person themselves or a product that they're trying to promote, and to have your image put onto like a poster or even an album cover is such a great honour. That being said, an opportunity arose recently with my friend Jenna to shoot some promotional pictures for her, and with this recent inspiration, I was really excited to do it. When the day came around, I knew I wanted to use my Mamiya RB67. I feel like just the superior image quality would have worked for the particular kind of photo that we were going for. So when the day came around, I was elated to do it. I was really excited, and I knew kind of the vague sort of style that I wanted to go for, and I just wanted to produce some good quality images for her to use and also for myself. Unfortunately, we only had a brief window of about half an hour as the sun was setting very quickly and I was shooting Kodak Gold 200, so we didn't really have a lot of time to film behind the scenes or any B-roll for you guys, so you'll just have to imagine my incredible iPhone B-roll for the time being. Hey guys, so today we're heading out with the RB67. We're going to go meet Jenna and take some sort of promotional pictures for her and her singing, so hopefully it should go well. It's very bright outside, so, yeah, there you go. But I think we're going to lose it quite quickly, so I'm going to bring some gold with me. I've got a couple frames of gold left in there, but maybe I'll pick up some Portrait 400 or something of that ilk on the way. We don't really have like a massive brief for this shoot, but we're just going to go and see what we can put together. So yeah, let's go. Like I said, with time running low, we headed out into town, and just to get things started, I took a quick couple of pictures of her sat on a bench. As you can see, the sun is really overpowering in these frames, and it was making it incredibly difficult to light me here as the sun was just blasting everything in the frame and I couldn't quite meet it properly. In my opinion, the best picture out of these three would have to be a combination of them. It'd be the composition of this one, the lighting and focus of this one, and then the posing of this one. We'd only just started at this point and I hadn't really got the ball rolling yet, and I was having a lot of difficulty composing images in this area that we were in, so we decided to move on, and we arrived at our second location, which was definitely not the top of a car park. As the sun was setting, there was some super harsh and elongated shadows, so as Jenna sort of walked off, I managed to quickly snap this picture. Safe to say the focus definitely leaves a lot to be desired, but I like the framing and I like Jenna's shadow, and I don't often shoot landscape on the RB67, so that was a nice change, I guess. I did try to constantly remind myself what I was there for to take these promotional images, and I wanted to definitely just get a dead set few that I could definitely use. So I posed Jenna up against the wall, so we took a couple more close-ups and then a full body portrait. To add to our challenges that day, the wind was also blowing at like 100 miles per hour, which made getting the decisive moment a little bit more tricky. However, it was at this point I'd seemingly shaken the rust off and was ready to take some actual pictures. So I posed Jenna up against one of the pillars, and I wanted the sun behind her, casting this sort of halo effect around her blonde hair. And it came out looking like this. I'm happy with this image. It's exposed and framed properly, and it's actually in focus, but it just didn't feel perfect. One area I know that I personally struggle with is sort of directing models and asking them to pose in a certain way. So, and feeling like I hadn't got the perfect shot with that last one, so I asked her to put her hand a bit down, move her head forwards, and waited for a break in the wind until Now this one I'm really happy with. It ended up coming out basically exactly as I envisioned. The halo effect works great and sort of brings in her face as the main focus of the photo. And you really get to showcase those lovely Kodak Gold tones here too. The only slight change that I would have made to this image would be to not including this puddle here in the corner, and also maybe if I had different gear with me I would have shot it a bit closer up, but unfortunately the only lens I have on my RB is a 33mm equivalent, so maybe it's time to get some new gear. Feeling like we'd exhausted all of our options at the top of the car park, we headed down the stairs and took a couple more along the way. I like both of these photos here, particularly the latter. I think the lighting works wonders to create a nice subject separation when you've got a fairly busy and complex foreground. It nicely focuses your eye more towards the subject. To take this next shot, I had to strike this pose. And safe to say it wasn't worth the shot. I remember I had to shoot at 1.8 for this shot, and since I have quite a nervous disposition, it didn't really come out exactly how I wanted to. So maybe there's also a lesson to always bring a tripod, no matter how rushed you are. Out of the car park and against a plain white backdrop, we took 2 more close-ups. And then we're on the last shot of the roll, which I think it's kind of customary to shoot something special on. So Jen suggested that I shoot at a high angle looking down at her, and we ended up with this. Which I love. I think it's seemingly such a simple image, but all of the elements are done right. I did miss perfect focus slightly, but I think that adds to the sort of general haze of the image. And there's a nice vignette around the edges of the images that brings your eye in and onto Jenna, who's well lit and has a nice focal fall off. So in my opinion, I think that these promotional images went really well. I was really happy with most of the images that came out of the roll, and I think we've got a nice mix of full body and also some more close-up portraits for Jenna to use as promotion. So with the promotional images taken, it was time to use them as promotion. You might be thinking, Harry, promotion for what? And that was for Jenna's first gig at Factory Floor. And that leads me onto the second half of today's video, which is Jenna's first gig at Factory Floor. A couple weeks after shooting those images, Jenna performed her first gig, and I brought along my Contax 139 quarts and shot some of it. I brought some HP5 Plus with me, but unfortunately 400 speed kind of just wasn't quick enough. It was a bit too dark in there, so I had to shoot a lot of it at f1.7. Although I did bring my hot shoe flash with me just in case. I started by taking a couple pictures of Bertie, who was on first, but due to missing focus and a slight blur, they didn't end up coming out exactly how I liked. But they do have this sort of weird ethereal atmosphere to them, which I am a fan of. I also managed to get up onto the balcony and take some pictures from there, which I am a fan of. Unfortunately, once again, lo and behold, I was ill prepared for a shoot. I only brought my 50mm lens when I should have also brought my 125. Shooting from this distance, the 125 would have been a lot nicer and allowed me to get a lot more close up. And also with the isolation of light, I probably could have shot at a little bit of a higher shutter speed. So I guess there's also a lesson to maybe bring a spare lens. Before Jenna came on, I asked if I could take some pictures of her, and we went into this side room which had some of the coolest lighting I've ever seen. It was very Edward Hopper-esque. Even though I was shooting black and white, I still had hope that it would come out quite nicely, so we decided to take a couple portraits here. I feel like they went really well. I really liked the compositions and how I was framing them, and it just things seemed to really flow. And then at that point, Jenna left to go get ready, and I looked down at my camera to see that the flash mode was on, and I'd shot the entire thing on flash mode, which ended up looking like this. Which was definitely a lovely combination of disappointing and disheartening. But I didn't want to let that stop me, and I continued to shoot whilst Jenna was performing, so here's that. I do really like these. They do suffer from the same issues as earlier, but that's not to say I'm still not a fan of them. I did use the flash a couple times, but I'm not really a fan of how the shadows came out looking. The images just look really flat, so potentially I need to do a bit more learning into shooting flash. After the show, I headed over to Jenna and explained what happened and asked if she'd be okay to shoot a couple more, which she was more than down for. So here's how they came out. I'm a really big fan of these shots. I really love how they came out. The ambient lighting looks great and I like how some of them are silhouetted too. I decided to take one with flash as well, just to have a darker and a lighter image, and I do quite like this one. I then took a couple more portraits, which did end up coming out quite blurred, but I do prefer them to if I would have shot them with flash, I think. And also I shot a couple pictures on my point and shoot which had colour in, so here those are. This ended up being quite useful as it shows you what that lovely Edward Hopper room looked like on colour film. I think it's also just quite important to have like a point and shoot on you. It's just for capturing smaller moments like this, where I didn't probably have time to focus or I'd shot all my other film. It was just a really nice moment to capture, and maybe it wouldn't have come out the same on an SLR, for instance. So that's how my two shoots with Jenna went, and I'm pretty happy with both of them. This one's probably my favourite image from the first roll, and this one's probably my favourite image from the second roll. Go check Jenna out here on Instagram. And if you like this video, drop it a like. And if you'd like to see more of my photography, please consider subscribing. Thank you for watching.